All right. Thanks, Coach Borden, for coming on to Real Talk, episode 4, season 2. So my first question is, so now currently you're at UNH, so kind of talk about some, what your role is, maybe what position, recruiting territories, things like that.
So, first off, thanks for having me on. I'm now the tight ends coach at UNH. Last year, I kind of came on after we were let go at UMass, and I was kind of the offensive intern analyst. Was able to move into the tight ends role after some staff shakeup with COVID. People kind of decide to move on and get out of the whole coaching thing, and I was able to hop in, so I'm really lucky for that. But it's been kind of a big blessing for me because, learning a new system, new ideas. Coach Frizzoko, our offensive coordinator, brilliant mind. Obviously, Coach Miller, our O-line coach, does a lot with the offensive line. Then Coach Santos, our quarterbacks coach, associate head coach, who was our interim head coach last year. Just being able to learn under those guys has been awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So how have you guys as a team, as a program, transitioned during these crazy times? I know we talked about it a little bit off air, but just kind of talk about that.
So, UNH has done a great job with being in the forefront of testing and kid safety. A typical day for a student athlete on campus is they're coming into the building, getting a temperature check, making sure that they don't have symptoms, going to whatever, if they have lift or whatever, in small groups. And then, from there, after a couple weeks of making sure that there was no COVID, no spread on campus, and we were able to get on the field and do small groups of work, whether it be, running like the ladders with the kids and stuff like that. As we've progressed on and on and on, the NCAA gave us the okay to do, full practice now, 15 practices. And, the kids get tested twice a week. They have to drop off their tests, at different locations on campus. We've had, made a good decision of keeping meetings to small numbers spread out throughout the facility. And if we have bigger numbers, keeping them virtual. But, we bought, masks for the kids to help protect with COVID, actual plastic shields on the helmet. And when the kids take their helmets off, they have to put a mask on. And, big time credit to our training staff being on top of everybody. Because when you get in that mode on the field, you kind of forget, what's going on in the world. It's kind of a great place to be because you forget about all the craziness. And they've done a great job of kind of coming around and being like, hey, spread out, or hey, make sure we have our masks on here and stuff like that. And you need that. It's one of those situations where if not taken seriously, you can see some of the bigger programs across the country having to shut it down, and even teams in our league having to shut it down for a little bit because of a spread. And we've been really lucky, really fortunate that the campus has really been behind everything with protecting the students, and we've done a really good job.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys are definitely fortunate to be able to get in what you have, and going forward as well. Like you said, a lot of schools have had to shut down. Some aren't even on campus right now. Some just stayed home or got sent home early, things like that. So, absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the next questions I wanted to ask you, obviously there's been a lot going on. We were just talking about with COVID and everything. There's been a lot of bad going on. So I wanted to see what you would say, like what's one good thing that's came out of COVID, and why would you think so?
So just for everything in the world, it's really been, especially I can speak to us on campus, it's been unifying. Being able to, all the kids have to sacrifice differently now. Whether it be they're not able to go to the cafeteria and get the food that they normally would get, or whether it's they have to be taking different picking people up at different locations to get them to practice. It's been really good to see the leadership of our team kind of step up from our team standpoint and really take care of the younger kids, because they're in a scary situation where they're at school for the first time in can't really meet anybody because most of the classes are online, and our older kids did a really good job with that. And then from a whole kind of outside world kind of perspective for us, it's been really great to see different people kind of come together, in the coaching world and outside of the coaching world, just, checking in. I've been hearing from people that I haven't heard from in years, former guys I coach with and different things, just checking in just to see how everything's going, making sure people are safe. And, it's been really nice to kind of make sure that everyone's kind of still on the same path, and hearing from old people, just because, you get to hear people reaching out. People have a little bit more time on their hands being at home or whatnot. So it's been good.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of seems like it's the silver lining with all this. It's one of the harder things to build with a football team is the togetherness and the unity. So I feel like that's definitely great, especially with all the bad going on today. But
Yeah.
one of the last things we wanted to talk to you about this COVID situation is, what do you expect from your athletes? They're all students and they're all on campus. What do you expect for them to do off campus to stay safe during these times?
Well, I mean, obviously, being a college coach, and then obviously going through college, this past weekend, it being Halloween weekend, it can be a crazy time. And, we get to see the commitment level of our team. Are they going to be, out and making some poor choices, or are they going to be, committed to the team and doing the right things? And it's easy for you to go down the wrong path. It's hard sometimes to stay on the straight and narrow. And, for us, it just shows the character that Coach McDonald has built at UNH. We've got, older kids, where generally the older kids are the ones that are they have the off-campus houses, the facilities, if you will, to host parties and stuff like that. And they've done a great job of just saying no to it and saying that we've got a job to do. For us at UNH, we haven't made the playoffs the last 2 years. So, we're really committed to getting back to the playoffs. We had a great run for a while, and the kids have taken that seriously. And, all the credit in the world to the kids. And I'll be the first one to say it. Our players have saved, my job. If they go out and go crazy and go into the world and we get a spread on campus, more likely than not, I don't have a job. So, when those kids make that decision for them and making a sacrifice, they're really making, doing me a big service and keeping me employed. And that's important to me. And, I can't thank the players enough for that, because they probably don't understand that when they're making a decision, how many people it can affect. But it really is, by them, doing the right thing, it's keeping a lot of people employed, keeping a lot of people, getting food on the table, stuff like that. So all the credit to those guys, as well as Coach Mack, of instilling that leadership in our team.
Oh yeah, that's great. People don't understand how many people are affected from the decision of just going out to a party or something like that. It seems small, but it can, like you, affect people's jobs. It can affect people putting food on the table. So that's great. I'm glad that they're all staying safe. But to move on to like more of the coaching part of this podcast, one of my questions was like, what does a normal off season look like for an athlete at UNH? Obviously now it's a little different because of COVID, but the last couple of years, what did a normal off season look like for you guys?
So the athletes themselves, we have a top-notch strength and conditioning staff, and we really work hard on making sure that our guys are obviously in the best condition that they can be, whether it be, they're going to be in the weight room working out 4 times a week, and we'll have the mat drills in the morning to build the team camaraderie as well as conditioning. Those drills are very similar, Mr. Pina, to what we did at Mount Ida, when we were just basically making sure that you follow the rules. Any little mistake, we reset the whole thing. And that's something that's important for any team to learn, because, one fail, we all fail. And in the littlest thing changes the outcome of any football game, whether it be, not downing a punt correctly, or, missing a bus the morning of a game. You have to instill those values. And that's what we do in the off season. We build our team up from the beginning there, not just in the weight room with their lifting and stuff like that. The NCAA limits how much time we can have together, but we make sure that we use every second of that time to not only build the team the way that we want, but also make sure that they're physically fit and ready to go as well.
Yeah, that sounds like you guys got a great plan and great order of action for that. So now to talk about, you talked about you worked with the QBs and you are now transitioned to tight ends, but what was one of your favorite drill you did or like to do with QBs when you were working with them? I'm sure Keena has done this before in his years at Might Ida.
So I love starting the day off with baseball. It's one of the fun things that we did in the beginning of practice, just while they're warming up in the beginning of the day, giving the guys a reason to throw every throw, and the way that we did it was, if you throw it in face mask, you get X amount of points. If you hit them in the chest, you get, another point. And then if you miss, you're outside the body, you lose points. I tried to do this with our quarterbacks, and over the years I've started to get smoked by the quarterback, so I've stopped doing it. But it's one of those fun little drills just to get a little competition going and stuff like that. I also always will love the days that we're out there in the middle of the rainstorm and we have to work on sliding practice and that type of thing. That's always fun. But another easy drill that we always worked on was just trying to fit those second level balls into over a 1 inch, coach holding up a bag and trying to throw those seam balls in there that you can get in there if you really work on them. And, those you can really pick up some serious yards, really stress the defense if you can do that. And, just trying to simulate as many in-game situations as you can with that. And, a lot of the times, we were really good at throwing those seam balls because we really, really harped it in practice almost every day, trying to fit balls in different areas.
Yeah, no doubt. I definitely remember baseball.
Yeah, that was one that for sure that the guys would really get after it and get after me, especially because I was usually the judge and I've been known to rig a couple of games here or there just to get the outcome I need. So it's good.
Oh yeah. So this is another question I like to ask a lot of our guests and everything. So when in a quarterback competition, when you're deciding between maybe a couple different guys, what are some things you're going to look for in a quarterback to ultimately win that competition?
I mean, for me, it's always been can they step up when somebody else makes a mistake? How do the guys that they come into the huddle with react to them coming into the huddle? Is there confidence amongst the whole group when they get in there? How do they? And another big one that's really been important to me over the years of learning is the player somebody who comes into the game and try to do too much? Can they run the offense efficiently? And even though the situation in their head might be that they need to make a play to show off, can they get that out of their mind and just do what the offense dictates to you? Guys that are forcing corner balls in when they should be throwing hitches, for instance. That's important because in the game, that same situation is going to present itself. You could be losing a game and you really need to throw a 5-yard hitch, 6-yard hitch just to get kind of the offense rolling. And if you force a ball down the field, you could get into a lot of trouble. So for me, most importantly, how are the guys around them responding to them? And then how are they with the offense? Can they let go of the situation of, that's a big competition and they need to make something happen? Mm-hmm. Can they just do what they're told and not try to do too much? Because, Coach Santos says it all the time, our quarterback coach at UNH, and I love this quote, is you'll never get broke taking a profit. And that's, the way that we teach our quarterbacks. If you can throw a hitch, take it. And eventually they're going to take the hitch away. Mm-hmm. When they take the hitch away, you better be able to make that, 15, 16-yard throw to the outside on the corner ball. And if you can do that now you're really cooking with gas. So I think that's really what we look for is, command of everybody and all that stuff.
Right. Absolutely. Now, kind of stepping away from quarterback talk for a second, what are some things that you look for in tight ends?
For us, first and foremost, we play, primarily in 11 personnel. So we're always going to have a tight end on the field. Sometimes we have two. And, we've had some really good ones at the University of New Hampshire, whether it be, Harold Spears and a couple other guys, Josh Powell. And for us, we got to have a guy that can really hold up in the blocking game. We face some big boy defensive ends now. Delaware's got some, 3 techniques that line up as defensive ends at times. So you got to be able to handle your business out there and be a guy that can make plays there. But then, our tight ends, me being a quarterbacks guy, we put a lot of pressure on them to understand coverage. Know when you're getting man coverage and when you can rub for the outside guys, or know when you're getting quarters, and if you run your over route at a certain depth or keep a linebacker inside of you, you can really open other things up. So, they got to be smart. And then, if we can get a guy that can really make some plays down the field, that's even better. But, first and foremost, got to be able to block, got to be smart, got to be able to make the pass game kind of runs through them a little bit, from the standpoint of, if they're doing their job well, they're going to open up a lot of things for a lot of other people. And then, our tight ends don't get a lot of respect in the pass game either. Where their ability to get open the last couple of years has been excellent. And we just got to keep building off of that. And that's what, my job is right now, is just keep building the pass game to get them more opportunities to get the ball. And, it's hard when you can throw the ball to the tight end on a 3-yard, out route, and you make somebody miss, and the tight end's making corners and linebackers miss. Now you're in a lot of trouble defensively. If, you got a guy barreling down the field that's really gonna take a lot out of you to tackle him. It's really good.
Oh yeah, that's scary.
That is scary. That's something you don't want to see coming at you. All right. So before, when we were off air, you talked a little bit of where you coached in through many colleges at Curry, Maine Maritime, Mount Ida, and now at UNH. So how have you used some of the information that you've gained throughout the years, and how do you use it in your coaching philosophy now? Or what do you use specifically from each?
So, that's a great question. I think that my first job at Curry College, working for Skip Bandini, Coach Bandini's a great friend of mine. Still talk to him. He has a boat down in Falmouth that I haven't been on yet, but I promise him that I'd get out to it as soon as I can. And, the one thing that he really instilled in me is, pay attention to details. The little things matter. Even the simplest things of printing out a script for practice, knowing, what the weather is going to be, if it needs to be laminated or whatnot, making sure that is set and good to go. It really helps you from there. And then obviously getting to Massachusetts Maritime, it's a different place. Our kids are going through the regiment, and they're getting up early for morning formation and learning how to, manage your time efficiently there, because our kids, they have a small break in the day to come over and enjoy football. We better be on our game so that they're good to go as well, because the rest of their life can be kind of tough there. And then at Mount Ida, the big lesson I learned was, obviously, Coach Langer's always instilled is throwing rocks. And, no problem is too big that you can't solve it. You've got everybody around you that you need to be able to fix anything. Keep fighting to get things done and work hard. And, if you keep throwing rocks at an issue, eventually you're going to solve it. And then, obviously when I moved on to UMass, the big thing I learned from Coach Whipple and those guys is, put pressure on the players to learn the offense. Don't think that they can't learn too much. And then once you feel like you've reached that threshold, pull back. Don't overload them, but put pressure on them, see how much they can handle first before, thinking that they can't handle enough. And then now at UNH, I think, Coach Mack is a master at building a team and making sure that the leadership is where it needs to be. And his coaching philosophy is spread out throughout the program, former players. And I mean, it is amazing how alumni can walk into the building and kind of correct guys if they're doing the wrong thing. And it's because of that, leadership that he's had for years there. And, guys take pride in it. It's funny. I'll tell a quick story. I first get to UNH and Coach Matt gives me a bunch of gear to wear. And one of the T-shirts is a Matt Drill Champions T-shirt from 2016. Just says Matt Drill Champions. I put it on one day, and Coach Santos and Coach Sedian, who were both graduates of the University of New Hampshire, both grabbed me and said, "Hey, you can't wear that." And it's like, what do you mean? They're like, "You didn't earn that. You don't understand. Like this is important to us." So obviously I thought they were kidding at first, but they weren't kidding. What happens in the off season and all the hard work that everybody puts in, it means a lot. And, I was not able to wear that T-shirt, and I put that in my locker, and hopefully, next year my group will win the Matt Drill Championship in 2020, 2021, and I'll get myself a T-shirt. But in going through it, it's important, culture, leadership, all that stuff. If you can instill the right things in players, you can go a long way. And, that's the biggest thing at UNH is our guys play really, really hard, really hard. We might not be the best talent-wise across the board against a lot of the teams that we play, but we play really hard, really, and the kids will play till the end of the whistle, the end of every game, and you got to respect the kids for that, for sure.
I think that's a great little story right there. I mean, that just speaks to the tradition of UNH football. I mean, that's what you want, though. That's you want that tradition for sure.
Yeah, especially coming from Coach Santos, whose pictures all over the building and stuff like that. It holds a little weight when you walk into the football building and his jersey's on the wall, his pictures on the wall. And I mean, he not only is he a great coach, he's a great person, but that tradition was really built by him and the people before him, and it's our job to kind of carry it on. So it's been really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, talking about a little about the closure of Mount Ida, obviously we all had to go through that adversity with the unexpected closing. And what are some ways that yourself dealt with that? And, what's your suggestions on how to deal with adversity, especially in today's society?
Sure. I mean, so my situation was pretty crazy. I went, at Mount Ida, I had just been engaged. I had left Mass Maritime. I was the offensive coordinator at Mass Maritime. Left there to take a full-time job at Mount Ida. It was my first full-time coaching job. So, I've been coaching for a while, but finally got a full-time job. Get engaged and the school shuts down. I'm trying to plan a wedding, and now I don't have a job. And, that was pretty intense for me, being able to go from, being really on the up and up to kind of in the basement. And, but without that, without being at Mount Ida and meeting Coach Landers and Coach Chapman, I wouldn't have the ability to go to UMass and coach at UMass. And, then after UMass, going there for a season, we get fired there. And then from being at UMass and doing a good job at UMass, Coach Whipple called Coach McDonald, and now I'm at UNH. And, not always is the grass greener on the other side, but if you stick with it, you really care, it's something that you want to do, you keep working hard. I'm not saying that you don't have to make sacrifices, because, I sure did in my life to be where I'm at right now. But, I'm really lucky. I got a great wife at home that, supports me in my job. But, dealing with adversity is just that. It's just, being able to overcome it, to throw rocks at it. As Coach Landers would say at Mount Ida, just keep working. If there's a way, if there's a will, there's a way. And that's what my high school coach used to say all the time. If you want to do it, you might have to, you might not be able to go golfing on the weekend when you want to go golfing. You might not be able to, after a game, go out with the guys and go to the bar and have a couple beers. You might have to go right home. But, are what's important to you. Is coaching football important to you, or is it not? And for me, my life goal was always to coach at the highest level I could. And being able to get to UNH has really been a blessing. And without getting to Mount Ida, I never would have gotten there. I truly believe that, because at Mass Maritime, we were the number 2 offense in Division III, and I didn't get any phone calls to interview at other jobs. I wasn't getting, my name in the paper or anything like that. Not that I wanted that, but I always wanted to go to a higher level. And being at Mount Ida really did open doors for me. It stinks that the place closed. It's tough for I really feel for the student athletes and the students that were there, students that love that place. But for me, it opened a lot of doors for me to be able to be where I'm at now. So I'm forever grateful to what Coach Landers and Coach Chapman did for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of putting the whole Mount Ida situation and then just dealing with adversity as well. I think you put it perfectly. So now, kind of another question we like to ask a lot of coaches is, what's some advice you have for kids who want to get recruited and go play at the next level?
I mean, the number one thing I could say is do not pay any recruiting service if you can't afford it. If you want to be recruited, send emails, send tweets, send everything you can to coaches, and 99% of coaches will get back to you with honest feedback. You might not like what they have to say, but if you want to be recruited, be proactive. Get your name out there. Say a lot of things. Go to different things that you can go to, whether it be camps, clinics, whatever. But get your name out there. Be proactive with the whole thing, and understand that it's a business. It truly is. And being at the Division III level where you're casting a big net, trying to find anybody that's willing to come to your school and the best players possible, you don't really get to see the side of the Division I level where we only get so many scholarships, and we only get so many scholarships at certain positions. It's just the fact of the matter of how it's built out. So if we had unlimited scholarships like a Division III level, you could get all the guys that you'd ever want, but that's not how it's built. And I feel for the class of 2021, especially the kids in Massachusetts that aren't playing till February. I mean, that's got to be unbelievably tough. And but the best thing I can say for them is get your name out there. Send as much tape as you want. If you think you're a Division I player, send it to the Division I coaches and ask for feedback, and they'll be honest. I mean, that's the number one thing I try to tell every player that contacts me is, hey, listen, you might not like what I have to say, but I'll tell you the truth. I'm not going to lead you on one way or another. If I think you can play here, great, I'll tell you. If I don't think you can play here, I'm going to tell you too, because you know what, it's not right to lead somebody on and then not be able to follow through in the end. That's not fair to anybody. It takes up a lot of time, and there's a lot of stress with making this decision. The best way that you can go about it, I believe, is just telling people straight up what the situation is. And that stinks, right now, because there's a lot of good players out there in the class of 2021. And, there's not scholarships to be had because the NCAA has told the senior class that was going to graduate this class that they can play for another year. And we're happy for the guys that are on campus that can play another year without losing eligibility, but it stinks for the kids that are in high school right now. So it's a tough balance for us. We're really lucky at the University of New Hampshire. We're not losing anybody that's graduating. So it's tough for us to fill out our roster because we don't have those scholarships. It's not like the NCAA is going to give us a couple extra scholarships for coming up. It's just we're full, so that's how it works.
Right, absolutely. So now, kind of a fun question here. So what's your favorite passing concept?
Oh, that's a good one. I feel like it's boring to say 4 verticals. We've done a lot of really good stuff with uh, the shallow concept and different tags to where the shallow is going to. So, you're talking, tight end on an over, flanker receiver to that side, running an under, going to the field side, and then doing a bunch of different concepts with those field 2 receivers, whether it be, a corner and a hitch, taking open access hitches, or 2 verticals or switch verticals, different things there. Being able to be very simple in the pass game, but have the multiplicity of different tags and different people running at you to give you a little bit of juice to your package, but not really having to have the kids learn too much. And that's what we've done a really good job at New Hampshire, is making sure that we simplify the playbook, but make it so complex that the other defense really has to take some time to really look at it. And, different formations, but running the same play, different 2x2 sets and all that stuff. And we've been really, really good at it. And luckily the tight ends, we're not asking them to do too much. We're not running wheels with them or anything crazy. We're just running overs, and they're catching 12-yard balls and hopefully making somebody miss at some point. So it's good.
Right. Love that. Love it.
One of the last questions we usually like to ask our people who are around Real Talk is, what are your hobbies? Coaching, you usually never turn your mind off. You're always thinking about something that's going on. What do you do to usually either in your pastime or just some hobby that you have?
I'm an avid golfer. I mean, my father, he's a scratch golfer. My brother's golf. My youngest brother is, a brick house. He hits the ball a mile. So, we're a great. I got my wife to golf, but me, my 2 brothers, and my dad are a scary scramble foursome to reckon with, because my brother out hits everybody almost every tee box he's on. Sometimes we can't find his ball, but that's a different story. So, but the coaching staff at UNH, we golf a lot too. We're lucky that we get a little hookup at a local golf course, so we don't have to pay for too many rounds up there. So we golf as much as I can. My wife is great. She lets me golf as much as I really want, and I got a lot of buddies that golf. We had a little Ryder Cup tournament this spring when COVID was kind of at its low point, and was able to play 36 holes one day, 18 holes the next day, and came home to a nice dinner from my wife, which not many people can say that their wives would be okay with that. But I'm lucky. I'm not as good as Coach Santos and Coach Setian. They're low numbers. I'm more of a 12 handicap, but we're getting there on staff. We have a pretty good group of 8 guys that golf, and we get some good matches out there. Usually the O staff takes it home, so which is good.
Jake's a collegiate golfer.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I play for Nichols.
Nice. Yeah, you're gonna have. So I've been playing since I was 3. My dad's little side hustle was picking up the pins at a local golf course at night. So he used to take me out to play a little bit, and through college I caddied and stuff like that at Winchester Country Club. And I've been playing it a lot more now that I'm back in the professional world than I did at my younger age. And I just love it. I mean, I'm going to play on Sunday, before the Patriots, get my mind off everything.
Yeah.
I usually try to play as much as I can, so it would be good.
Yeah, me too. Especially now, it's all you can seem like you can do.
Yeah, I mean, it stunk to be, kind of locked out of the office during COVID, but my golf game has never been better. It's funny because